You are making the world a better place by listening to the Joy of Living podcast. This is your guide to achieving a more purposeful, powerful, and positive life. Join Barry Shore in unlocking the best version of you and becoming happier, healthier, and wealthier. And now, here's your ambassador of joy, Barry Shore.
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Maybe you're good-looking, you're always looking for and finding the good, and you have found good because you've consciously and conscientiously tuned into the Joy of Living with your humble host, Barry Shore. And you did this for one reason and one reason only, because you care the most in the entire world about you. And that's wonderful. Y-O-U. That's great, because when you're the best you make the world a better place. You build more bridges. You create more harmony. You create more joy, happiness, peace, and love in the world. And right now, I just want to share with you, because this show, thank God, is carried around the world. And we have over 325,000 people listening every single show. And what you do is you honor me. I'm humbled by it, because you tell friends, family and friends, we have 20, 30, 40,000 additional people every show. So right now you're being joined by 348,613 people around the world, all of whom have tuned in for that one reason. They care about most. You only care about you, which is great, because that's what the show is all about. You becoming the best you. And today you're going to be transported to another place so that you can really touch the best you. We're bringing on our two amazing Terry and Tom in just a few minutes, and it's gonna rock your boat. You're gonna love it. It'll be so transformational. That's another T. We'll talk about a lot of T's today. So I just want to urge you again, remember, on this show, The Joy of Living with your humble host, Barry Shore, we speak about the three fundamentals of life. And when you work with these three fundamentals, you will be happier, healthier, and wealthier. So these three fundamentals are, number one, your life has purpose. And when you lead a purpose-driven life, number two happens. Now, in this case, a good number two, you go MAD. Now, MAD is a wonderful acronym that stands for make a difference. You lead a purpose-driven life, you make a difference in the world. And the third fundamental that we work with is uncovering the power and the secrets and the mysteries of everyday words and terms. Simplest example, right now, this show is being carried worldwide over the internet. If you ask anybody, what does www stand for? Invariably, it has to do with the internet. Factually speaking, they're correct. But in our world, the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, www stands for what a wonderful world. And what a is a word, right? W-H-A-T-A. And whenever you hear that opening bars of that song, you know that song, What a Wonderful World. Thank you, Louis Armstrong, Satchmo, for enabling that song to go viral and touch not just tens of millions or hundreds of millions, but billions of people around the planet know that song, What a Wonderful World. When you hear the opening bars, what do you do right away? You can't help it. You smile. It's a wonderful word. And smile is one of the most important words you can internalize, utilize, and leverage in your life, because smile stands for seeing miracles in life every day. Seeing miracles in life every day. Now, thank God I'm speaking to people again in person, no mask. That whole thing is gone. And recently I spoke to a great crowd, 1,173 people, not a mask in the house, just talking, sharing, hugging, all kinds of things. I'm telling you the story about Barry Shore. I'm talking about smile, seeing miracles in life every day. People raising their hand and say, hey, Barry Shore, I've been up for hours already. I've seen me miracles. And I asked them, are you here? Can you hear? Can you stand still? I can't do that. Can you walk? I can barely do that. You have water to drink. You have food to eat. You have a place to sleep, family, friends. Every single one of those is a miracle. And what's the proof? Simple as proof. 1 million plus people didn't get out of bed this morning. You know why? They died. By definition, if you're watching or listening, you didn't. Therefore, we have an obligation to live life to the full, live exuberantly. So let me tell you a quick story. Again, thank God most everybody here, hundreds of thousands of people know the story, but you brought your friends. So we're doing this for your friends. Imagine hale and hearty, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound, and that evening being in the hospital totally, completely paralyzed. That was me. Not an automobile accident, not a spinal injury, a rare disease which I never heard of the day before, took over my body and rendered me something called a quadriplegic, which means that from my neck down, nothing on my body moved. Nothing. All I could do was blink my eyes to communicate. I was 144 days in the hospital. I was in a hospital bed in my own home for 2 years. I couldn't turn over by myself. 4 years in a wheelchair. I had braces on both my legs, from my hips to my ankles, and that was progress. Thank God today I'm able to be vertical and ambulatory with the help of a 7-foot walking wand. So I'm a triped, not a biped. I still can't walk up a stair by myself. I can't walk up a curb by myself. And I've helped 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. But you hear my voice. Positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, all because of this one word. Smile. Seeing miracles in life every day. I got to tell you a quick story. My 8-year-old niece comes over to me a few weeks ago. She says, Uncle Barry, can we spell smile S-M-I-E-L? And I thought about it. Smile sounds the same. Why not? I asked her, how come? She says, because then it would stand for seeing miracles in everyday life. Out of the mouth of babes. What was she doing? She was creating the kind of world she wants to live in. Now, CREATE is a fabulous acronym. It stands for causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. We're going to rethink a lot of stuff when we bring on Terry and Tom in just a few minutes. Rethinking. It's all about how you shift your perspective. Now, working with people over many, many years, thousands of people, sometimes, I don't know why, but most people drop the F in shift and they get the other stuff. But you got to keep your F's in place, shift perspective. And you're going to learn the 6 most important words that you'll ever internalize, utilize, and leverage in life, because these words are choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. So before we bring on wonderful Terry and Tom, I'm going to urge everybody to use the 2 most powerful words in the English language 3 times a day from now and the rest of your life. Because if you do this, you'll make life better for you, your family, your friends, and all living beings. And these 2 words are thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks stands for to harmonize and network kindness. To harmonize and network kindness. The Dalai Lama has been quoted as saying, I read in his writings, be kind whenever possible. And as he says, with a twinkle in his eye, it's always possible. So imagine you go into your coffee shop and you order your fancy latte, and you sit down, somebody brings it to you. Say thank you. You go to the coffee shop, you order a fancy latte, you sit down, a few minutes go by, nobody brings it to you. You walk up to the counter and they say, oh, I'm sorry, we forgot, we're busy, we'll bring it to you. Sit down, a couple of minutes go by, somebody brings it, still say thank you. You're walking out of the coffee shop. It's raining out. Somebody holds the door open for you. You say, thank you. You're walking out of the coffee shop. It's raining and somebody slams the door on you. You say, thank you. You're stuck in traffic. You're late for an appointment. Somebody cuts you off. You say, thank you. You get up in the middle of the night and you stub your toe and it hurts. You say, thank you. To harmonize and network kindness. KIND is a fabulous acronym. It stands for keep inspiring noble deeds. I can't think of 2 people that I would love to share with you that inspire noble deeds every single day than amazing, wonderful Tom and fabulous Terry. Tom and Terry, TT, please say hello to 363,000 people around the world.
Good morning, everybody. Great to be here.
Howdy, everyone from the Boston area. So please excuse my accent. I think Mary's going to translate for me.
Thank you. So these 2 beings, I don't want to just call them guys, these 2 beings deal in something that is absolutely wondrous because they are able to unite and work with together deep science and remarkable, what we call metaphysical mysteries. So when you get a combination like that, and especially with a guy who was a cop from Billerica and a guy who was the police force in the Midwest, and you got this guy in Henderson, Nevada, and we're talking to people around the world, you're just going to jump right in and start talking about the ability to use deep science and what we call metaphysical mysteries and how that relates to, remember, talking to just one person out of these hundreds of thousands, how does that help remove negative energies in the world? Because there are some. How do we bring forth joy, happiness, peace, and love? Who wants to go first, Tom or Terry?
Yeah, we'll let Terry kick it off.
That's like jumping out of a plane without a parachute. Terry can lead off. Yeah, so no problems. Yeah, what we do is study some of the ancient mystical things that people have said for eons of time. Additionally, we look at ancient texts and so forth. What were these mystics saying? And then bring it all the way forward to the most modern, even quantum physics in some cases. What do we know now versus what were they saying then? And we try to take that and see what we can do to bring those concepts together and use it for health, healing, and that sort of thing. So changing energies is, for the most part, to cut right to the chase, is about intention, your intention. Your mental intention. Many of these things that people talk about in the metaphysical world are mind games. They're all about being able to utilize your mind and focus your energy. That's easier said than done, as many people have found. But some people are a little more gifted in that area than others, and they go to work in some particular area that's of interest to them. And so we explore that with researchers, authors, ourselves, of course, even all the way to ghost hunters and psychics, mediums, that sort of thing as well. And that brings us to a new understanding of these kinds of energies and what we can do to help. And really, it's kind of bridging that gap so people can understand what's out there, what it really means, and not the woo-woo, but scientific.
Oh, good. I'm glad you said that magical word, 2 words, woo-woo. We love woo-woo, but we're avoiding woo-woo so we can talk about science-based situations, because people tune into the joy of living, because we discuss on this show stress-free life. Isn't that amazing? How to relieve the stress in your life. And what I'd like to do is throw something back now right to Tom. Thank you, wonderful Terry. And say, Tom, I'm going to throw you a curveball. You ready, kid?
Sure thing.
Let's talk about theta waves. Now, theta, by the way, is spelled Theta. Theta waves. Let's discuss that.
So we look at the different brain wave states within the human brain, and different things occur at different levels. And so we want to get to a level where we can access the energetic fields. And so theta allows for some of that to occur, because you start to, if you use the Star Trek analogy, it's almost like having the mind melt kind of thing. We blend into other fields. And so you want to have, for lack of better, the key to the door, if you will. And so if you can shift your brain into that state, then you can have better access to these higher level opportunities of your life.
So again, listen to what Tom just said. It's all about shift. Now, they said you got to be careful when you say the word shift to pronounce that F, because the other stuff happens. And you don't get your theta waves unless you have a good shift. And again, more people, I've just mentioned to you, the most commonly searched word on the internet, pre-COVID and now post, is the word stress, because it affects everybody, right? Let's be blunt. Stress in your health, stress and effects on the body, and such like that. So let's go back to you, wonderful Terry, and talk to us. You said, you're right, easier said than done. Can you share with us 1 or 2 practical things that either you and Tom have either found out and use, or you personally, something that people that they use a technique that's really practical? Anybody in the world can use, whether you're in Bangladesh or you're in Boston or you're in Baton Rouge, that you can use right now. Can you share something with us that can really make a difference?
Well, stress is a good thing and a bad thing. If you've got a dinosaur going to bite your head off, stress to get out of there, fight or flight, is a good thing. Stress, if you are perceiving life in a way that is not healthy and you continue to put the stressors on your body, then that's not good. One of the things Tom and I both have taught for 30 years is the dive rescue world. These are police, fire divers that have gone underwater, to do high stress situations. And one of the things that we have taught is stress inoculation. And stress inoculation is where you basically build up a level of comfort or immunity, as some people would call it, to high stress situations. So like a scuba diver, for an example, if that individual had his air cut off one time, he's probably panicked, his heart rate goes up, stress is terrible, cut it off 1,000 times, and he's bored out of his skull. I always tell my students, I want you bored out of your skull every time you come across a high stress situation, whether you're entangled, trapped on the bottom. What should go through your head is, well, Terry's done this to me before and I've survived, so this is pretty boring. I'll get myself out of it. And so stress inoculation, there's some techniques involved with that, but we can stress inoculate ourselves on many fronts. That's just one. I mean, you take the Navy SEALs and so forth, they're stress inoculized for, high speed, low drag operations. I mean, the first time you jump out of an airplane, you're pretty stressed. About the 1,000th time, it's fun and it's not so stressful. It's enjoyable. And this is where we have to look at our perception of the things that are coming at us on a daily basis and go, wait a minute, hold on a minute. Who's assigning the stress to this? Is it the outside world or is it me? And then if I do a 1 to 10 scale, what is this to me? 10, I'm crazy out of my mind with stress, or 1, I'm about to fall asleep. And we get to decide if it's a 5. Well, if it's a 5, who assigned it? I did. If it's a 5, could it be a 4? Well, sure. Could it be a 3? Yeah. Can I get it down to a 2 or 1? Sure, because you know what? You control the dials. You dial it up or you dial it down. It's all in your perception.
So let's just begin. First of all, huge SI. We love it. Stress inoculation. It's much better than anything else that's been administered in the past couple of years that can help save your life. This is the kind of inoculation you want. It is so positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, what you just said, because like you mentioned, who controls the dials? Once you shift your perspective and recognize that you control the dials, then that stress level can be reduced or increased, depending, like you said, flight or fight. But the reality is that it's on me. Is that not true? I mean, we're dealing here in a word with me, number one. By the way, everything is so important here. People are writing down stuff. All you have to do is go to my website, www.whatawonderfulworld.barryshore.com. You don't have to write anything down. Everything about Wonderful Terry and about Tom, which is amazing, by the way, just their bios. If I start telling you their bios, we take up the rest of the show. So I'm not going to do all that. But suffice to say, they know what they're talking about. Just go to my website. All the information is there. So just lean in and, like he said, enjoy. Don't get bored, because this is stuff that will keep you going and such like that. But you don't have to write everything down. But he just opened up the world to us. I'm going to use a word right now that I'm going to throw back to Tom, because, again, you guys have been in law enforcement, which, if you talk about those two words, law enforcement, I don't think there's a more stressful occupation that exists. And, again, you've been in firefighting, to EMTs, all this. Let's be blunt. Unless you're in combat zone, this is the highest stress situation. And by definition, almost, you're in the combat zone every day, right? Now, before I ask Tom to speak on that, I want to bring it down to the most practical level of something, and that is being in traffic. You remember before I introduced everybody, say, you're stuck in traffic, somebody cuts you off, you say thank you, as opposed to road rage, right? The ability to control the dial is what puts a smile on your face. I'm looking at Tom and Terry right now. So if you're only listening, I'm telling you, they're both smiling. But if you're not, and if you are watching, you're seeing they're smiling, because they get the gig. They understand it's all in my hand. This is called wisdom. Wisdom. So I'm just going to throw back to you, wonderful Tom. Can you speak to us about these stressful situations that you've been in, or about people, and what can people do on a regular daily basis to make sure that they understand they have the dial and they can use it?
Yeah, I find it kind of simple. As you said, I've done all 3 of those jobs: law enforcement, paramedic, and fire service. And what I found that works for me, kind of an extension of what Terry said about whose measuring stick are you using, is what's within my control and what's outside of my control. That whole adage of, if it's not mine, leave it alone type thing. And I keep it really simple when I do my clinical work with folks. It all comes down to choice. I worked with a medic that was really beating himself up, a hard charge and hardcore hospital-based system. And one day I sat down with him, and we laugh about it now. I said, "You want to know what's wrong?" He's like, "No." I go, "It's your choice. What do you want to focus on?" And so I do this experiment in classes with kids. I ask people to hold up their 2 index fingers, one inch off your tip of your nose. So one right here, and the other one stretch out.
The middle. I was putting it up my nose. Okay.
Little kids that do that to me. Your other arm, stick it out as far as you can. And when you do that, make the finger close to your nose, clearing your vision. Don't keep your hands where they were. Put your other hand big out straight. So just like this, you should look like this right now. Make the finger close to your nose, clearing your vision. And when you do so, what does the other finger look like in the background? Don't move. Now, keeping your hand still, look at the finger far away. Make that clear. When you do so, what does the finger close to your nose look like? And so the messaging in a real simple way is what you choose to focus on will become your reality. They both coexist. Which one you want to pick? Your choice.
So remember, before I introduce these 2 amazing men who are going to take us ghost hunting in a little bit. So get ready, buckle up, everybody. We talked about the 6 most important words that you could ever utilize, internalize, and leverage in your life. And they are: choice, not chance, determines your destiny. It's your choice, isn't that amazing? I love that when you said you talked to this high charging EMT. I mean, that word charging is so interesting. By the way, this is inside baseball stuff, what I just did, because this is called Boston accent. If the San Diego Chargers ever were in Boston, became the Boston Chargers, they'd be spelling it CHAH. It's wonderful. Charger. Yeah. So it's the choice. What do you choose to focus on? So we choose to focus on removal of negative energies. Now, as you said, Terry, easier said than done. But I'd like you to talk about, I'm going to give you a situation. I don't even know if this occurred, but you mentioned beautifully scuba diving. Now, scuba is a great acronym, by the way, right? Self-contained underwater breathing apparatus.
Right.
Now, we all live in what I call the SCABA. We're self-contained above SCABA, water breathing apparatus. That's us. So what happens in a situation where we're breathing and we're alive, we need to be calm and aware. And you go underneath the water 10 meters, 20 meters, 30 meters or more, and you're breathing nicely because you've been instructed by Terry, and all of a sudden you're not breathing. So the natural thing to do is, ah! But if you've been trained, and now you have what we call stress inoculation, you say, oh, okay, I know what to do. I do A, B, C. So just let's take us out of the water, Terry, put us above the water, and stuff happens. Stuff, because everybody has stuff in their life. Hello, Barry Shore, standing up in the morning, paralyzed in the evening. I mean, you call that stuff, wouldn't you?
Yeah, stuff.
And talk about, so I had stress inoculation because I was 55 years on the planet by that time, had been working and studying what we're talking about right now for dozens of years. But still, human, hello, what's going on? So give us some practical things that you've either worked with, taught in schools, or taught to some of the people that you trained in being above water breathing apparatus. That's us. And what we can do.
Well, starting below water, what do we teach them? How to breathe. And above water, it's the same thing. You can control a great amount of stress with how you breathe. You ever seen people hyperventilate? They're doing the little dog pant, and it really wraps them up pretty quickly. Learning to breathe that slow, deep breath, take the stress out of the body, it makes your mind clearer and you can make better judgment decisions. So breathing, just like underwater, controlled, understood. When you come into a high stress position above water, you clearly want to take time to just deep breathe and start to let that stress start to melt away, and then make decisions based on some rational input that you have. stressors can be all kinds of things. Everything, somebody holding a gun against your forehead, that could be a stressor if you've never had that.
Wait a minute. I got to put you on just for a moment, because that's too much fun. I mean, you and Tom have been in those situations. You've seen that, but that's not what we call everyday life. I just want to say you said it so calmly because you've been in those situations and you were able to breathe and then use the mind so that you can be with us today.
Yeah, absolutely. I should have died so many times. I can't even tell you. I should have died in many different circumstances, but I knew I never was going to. My mind was set. I'm not going to die today. I'm survival. I'm going to do the right things at the right time. We're going to do them step by step, bring a little calm to the storm, and they used to teach that in the police academies. When you walk through and wearing the Smokey Bear hat, you walk into a bar fight, that's supposed to be bringing the calm to the storm. You're supposed to be the calm, cool, collected one. How do you do that? By overexposure to those situations over and over again, where you come out successful, and then it becomes pretty routine. It's when people have not been exposed to something that's new to them. And there's wiring in the brain, and Tom will talk a little bit about that, I'm quite sure, that we have myelin pathways within the brain. And the thicker they get, the quicker we respond in a proper fashion. However, if it's something new, then you can get into the panic mode. Your mind just doesn't know which way to take it. Which road do I take? And they can go directly into the panic mode. And that is where the heart rate increases, manual dexterity decreases. And the next thing you know, you're doing things that are counterproductive to your survival and or just being happy for the day. It can be as simple as that. It can be as simple.
Let's talk on that high note of being happy in the day. And we will give it back now to Tom. So I just want to make mention, you talked about the myelin pathways. So I am very empathetic when you talk about myelin pathways. Myelin, by the way, everybody should know. Again, you go back to the site because you're going to want to listen to this again and share this with people. I mean, this is so much fun. Myelin, M-Y-E-L-I-N. I'm going to make the analogy. It's you have a lamp and a cord, you plug it into the wall. So the rubber around the wire is called the myelin sheath, because if the rubber wasn't there and you touch another wire to was plugged in, you get short circuit. So I'm going to expose everybody or inform everybody that what happened to me, I have something called Guillain-Barré syndrome. Guillain-Barré syndrome, GBS for the cognoscenti, means that the myelin sheath in my body were interrupted. That's what Guillain-Barré does. It's called French polio. Same thing, the idea is polio. You cut the myelin sheath, and all of a sudden, Barry Shore can't move. I mean, all of a sudden, completely, totally paralyzed in a matter of an hour or two. Just, that's it. Hello, new world. What do you do now? So yes, I know a little bit about myelin pathways and panic and stuff, but thank God I didn't. I was calm. Now, could I have done something else? No, because I couldn't move, but that's another story. But I was calm in my mind. You said something genius, and I'm going to give it to Tom. My mind was set. So in the world that we're talking about, we're calling, what is your mindset? If your mindset is, no matter the situation, I am in control, I am calm, I have the dial, okay, things might get out of here. I have no idea what's going to go on. So Tom, here we go. We're back to you in the volleyball court. Something new happens you haven't seen before. Oh my gosh. And you're fighting a fire. It's 6 stories and things are happening. People are jumping out of the building and what do you do when it's new?
So the first thing your brain's going to do is run through its file cabinet and see if there's anything close enough that it can relate to pull forward to help you through the scenario. The next thing you do, if it's not there, then just take a breath. There was a whole thing we used to teach in diving that don't overreact, to stop, think, and act. Big difference.
Can you say it again?
Sure. Don't react necessarily. Stop, think, and then act. So make it a purposeful decision, not something that you're just relying on that may or may not be helpful to you in the past. And the way you can prepare for a lot of these things, and they've done lots of studies with sports players and such, is just visualization. In your mind, just put yourself in that scenario and plan for the outcome that you want and just practice it in your mind. And they actually found folks that improved their skill set in sports without ever actually practicing physically, just by that whole mental rehearsal. So it's no different with life challenges. Put them in your mind, play it out, and where do you want to take it? And you win.
This is so wonderful because, again, remember the 6 words: choice, not chance, determines your destiny. And as an extension of that, what we do and we teach, we work with people, it's how you respond in any given situation that will determine what stress level you're going to be at, what you're going to do. And it's not react, as Tom just pointed out. The most important thing is 4 letters. We love 4-letter words, by the way. S-T-O-P. First thing is stop. So because in our world, the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, we use a lot of 4-letter words: love, life, hope, grow, free, gift, play, pray, swim. Stop. Stop is one of the most important, because when you stop, as you said, and you visualize, think of yourself as Tom Brady. 2 minutes left to go in the game, you're down, and you're down at the other end of the field. He has done things so many times. I'm doing this because we're from Boston and such. That he visualized the drive. And by the way, I know this. I spoke to him about this. That's another story. He visualized the drive, and he visualized the winning throw, and he visualized the game. Mm-hmm. He did that in a matter of, he said, less than 30 seconds, because all he had. But he visualized the positive, purposeful, powerful, and what came out, pleasant outcome. So on that high note, before we go to ghost hunting with these 2 amazing people who are sharing with us these fabulous, amazing insights, we're going to go to a quick commercial break, because people love the show and they love to advertise, and we love you to use their products as a great product. So we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Don't go away. Buckle up. There's more of Terry and Tom on the other side of this. Opportunity. What an opportunity. I'm going to use 2 4-letter words right now. Free gift. Free gift. Yes, you can have a copy of my best-selling book, The Joy of Living, How to Slay Stress and Be Happy, the ebook version, for absolutely free. All you have to do is send an email to me, Barry, B-A-R-R-Y, at barryshore.com, and in the heading, the subject line, just write free gift. It's as easy as that. This is a life-changing, life-enhancing opportunity. Barry at barryshore.com. You'll be glad you did. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Free gift. Do it now. Take the action. Make it happen right now. Best wishes. Bye. Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking because you're always looking for and finding the good. And we found good, double, double, double. Our cup runneth over with good. It's Terry and Tom, and we're discussing the abilities for you to own your dial, to make sure that panic doesn't enter your life, because you trained yourself to be able to live with choice, not chance. Whether you're underwater and your scuba equipment doesn't work anymore, or you're above water and somebody has a gun to your head, or just in traffic, or they didn't bring your latte in time. It's up to you to choose your level of stress, because we know stress affects the body. We're talking about negative stress on a continuing, ongoing basis. Let's talk about the Bible. How's that for a segue? And let's talk about ghosts. Ghosts are mentioned in the Bible. Let's talk about ghost hunting, because I know both of you do this. I'm certainly all ears, and I'm eager to hear. Who wants to go first, Tom or Terry?
Well, Terry does the hunting. I just have them come and visit me periodically.
Okay, Terry, come on. By the way, Terry's, as everybody will know, go to my website, www.barryshore.com. Terry's family name is Trueblood, which is a great name in itself, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But let's go. What do you do when you go ghost hunting, Terry?
Well, first I'm going to back up, and you were using the Tom Brady analogy. I'm sorry, I got to go with Aaron Rodgers. I'm here from the Midwest, and from what I understand, he's quite a metaphysical guy himself. So there you go. I'm sure he visualizes the same. So, all right. Now that's a go pack go after that. So, yeah. And so, the way I got into this thing was towards the end of my state law enforcement career. People would ask me to check out on some issues they'd had, people would call ghosts in their houses or businesses or whatever the case may be. And so I got involved. And I even asked, I said, well, what the heck are you calling me for? That's not my gig. They said, well, you're the only guy we know that would know how to proceed on something like this. And with a little assistance from a friend, we were able to do some successful removals in some of the businesses' houses and whatnot.
By the way, just going to put a pause to unpack something. You did successful removals. In other words, there was a or several ghosts inhabiting a particular physical location.
Yeah, and let me go to this. There is, I'm going to make it easy, 2 different kinds of dead folks. About estimated 85% are the kind that kind of go through the light. You always hear the story going towards the light and that sort of thing. And then there's roughly maybe estimated 15% that don't. So where are they at? Well, they're kind of in the in-between, or some people call it the gray. Other people have other names for it. I don't care what acronym, whatever you put to it, it doesn't matter. But they're the things that go bump in the night, what we would call ghosts. So, and then there's a difference between ghosts and demons. Demons are a more sophisticated energy. And these are all energies because we are all energy. We just happen to be inhabiting a bag of bones right now, either as a male or a female, and your race happens to be what you chose. Whether you're white, black, Asian, it doesn't matter. You've been at all that before, so you chose this, and I think quite frankly,
by the way, this is also wonderful. I mean, we're talking about choice, not chance.
Yeah,
what you're making a statement right now is so remarkable that I need to remark on it. In other words, whatever physical body you inhabit and whatever it looks like in any dimension is what you have chosen as your vehicle. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. Now, I just want to say also, you mentioned there's something called ghost, and we'll call them the 15%, we'll call them shades because they're not at the light.
Right.
And then there's things called demons, but they're all energy forces. By the way, the acronym that we use for love, another wonderful 4-letter word, is living on vibrant energy.
Yes,
living on the vibrational thing. That's us.
Absolutely. Okay. And vibrant relates to vibration. That's where you get the term. And that's key because this is all about vibration, sound and light vibration. And these entities are just of a lower vibration. Love is the overpowering force throughout the universe. Simple as that. And if you're able to apply that force through a focused means, high vibration will always dissipate low vibration. And ultimately, that's what you're doing. You're taking high vibration, pushing low vibration out. That's how illnesses are fixed and, so on and so forth. And likewise, when these folks that are in the 15th percentile are bebopping around, they usually have some communication they want to make with you. They have something to say, something to do, or something they want to fool around with. It doesn't matter, but they have a reason for not transferring. And some are just scared to death they're going to go to hell, that kind of thing. Whether you believe in hell or you don't believe in hell, they believe it, and that's what's important. Remember, you're in control, even when you're dead. The body is just, like I say, a bag of bones you happen to hold on to for, 80 or 90 years. And that's it. And you drop it, and you're back into your energy form that you were before you ever came in. So if we address these individuals as individuals without a body, that gives us a sense of what they want, what they're trying to accomplish. And then we can either assist them or instruct them that this is not the place or the time to do that. And then what a lot of people ultimately get to is opening a vortex. And this is a mind game. And they open a vortex to allow them to flow through and get onto the other side. As long as they understand they're not going to get burned up, they're not going to, something bad's not going to happen to them. that's when they'll move. And that gets into a whole psychic mediumship thing.
Okay, so let's just pause there for the moment.
Pause on that. Yeah, for sure.
Let me ask you this question. First of all, again, everybody needs to listen to this again and then share this with at least 5 friends. That's it. I didn't say 500. You want to do that, fine, but at least 5. Everybody here, that will have over 1.5 million people watching, listening. You mentioned the word vortex. I mean, first of all, what a great word, right? VORTEX. You got a V for vibration. You got an X because X is one of those interesting letters in the alphabet that has, we don't know what it is even. And I'm talking to guys that live their life in this earth in the most, how should we say it, positive, scientifically based world. They're police people, they're fire people, they're scuba teachers. They know what has to be done because it's real. We're not talking the other stuff, we're talking real. The ability to communicate with a non-physical being, which has a lower energy than you do. So therefore there should be you can't be frightened of it because you are at a higher level. I'm making that statement. I hope I'm correct. And you are now able to help that 1 or 2, whatever the number is, get through a particular place. We'll call it the eye of the needle, just for the analogy, through that vortex. It could be to them, there's a 5-lane highway, but called it the eye of the needle. But you're the one who can help create a vortex that can enable somebody to move on. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Oh, hello. And again, we're talking to guys who have lived through on a regular basis life and death situations and instruct people. We're not talking to the come and listen to me. I'll do a reading for you. I want to emphasize that to everybody. You got to go to the website and look at who these guys are. Tom, so you said you've been mostly a bystander on some of these things, but you've been next to Terry when he's been involved with this stuff?
Oh, yeah. It's an entertaining time when you go to dinner with Terry, let me tell you. We'll be sitting there ordering food, and the waiter or waitress will come up and he goes, I got a message for you. And they'll just look at him and he'll spit something out. And next thing you know, they're crying and because it's dead on. And I'm like, hey, if you want to give them the message, great. Let's get our order in first and then give the message. And it'd be a much better deal for us. But, I've watched
so wait a minute. We're talking about the power of believing in God. We're talking about understanding that God is real. The Bible is a communication situation. And you're talking about the real existence of a spiritual life. Am I correct?
Yeah, and I let people define God to their need, right? There's many different versions of it if you look at the different religious factions. And I find a lot of people today don't identify as religious as much as they identify as spiritual. So however they want to define that, I just keep it simple. I just keep saying it's above my pay grade. That's where I put it.
And the good news is you're not dyslexic.
Not that I'm aware of. Because, to be sure.
Right. Well, I want to go back to this point of ghost hunting when you started, because we have other things. How does mediumship, which is what you're talking about, right? Mediumship. Mm-hmm. How does mediumship work on a human basis?
Basically, you have to look at it this way. If the folks on the other side have a very high vibration, it's way up here. And, we are here in the physical world. They have to lower their vibration a little, and we have to raise ours a little, meet in the middle. That's middle medium. That's where the name comes from, you see? And so you have to be able to turn your vibration on when you're in body to bring it up. They're lowering theirs, and then there's a point where you can find communication. And when they talk about reading or tuning into somebody, it's like the old radio dials. Some of us are old enough to remember that.
Oh my gosh, you're seeing my gray beard and my white. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you can turn it and tweak it to try to get it just so, and you're actually doing that with your mind. Because people say, how do you tune into one versus another? Well, I told you at the beginning, this is mind games. You've got to be able to control your mind. And that comes back to being calm, being, very functional. And then you can tune into a particular entity that may wish to speak. Now, remember, when I would get some message for somebody, they would oftentimes ask me, why would you get a message from my father? And I'd say, listen, imagine being out in the desert. There's nothing out there, but you see a phone booth out there. Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. You just said something that nobody can relate to yet. If they're under the age of 22, a phone booth?
A phone booth, yes.
Look at it. What's that?
Google it. So yeah, imagine a phone booth out in the desert. There's nothing else out there. And what do? When you go to the phone booth, you pick up the phone and you dial friends or family. I tell them, I'm just a phone booth. That's it. So if there's somebody nearby that wishes to make a call to you and they use me as the phone booth, I will have no idea what they're talking about. If I just blurt out some particular statement, it will make no sense to me. And oftentimes a lot of people who have that ability are reluctant to speak it because it sounds so silly to them, but it means the world to this individual when you say something. And I have many cases like that, and it's kind of fun. And when I teach students that want to get into that a little bit, I don't, have to be world class at it. You can be pretty good at it if you wish. I tell them, let's go to a restaurant and sit down and order some food. And, at that point, you'll have people that are around that you can kind of tune into, so to speak. And you're going to feel all kinds of vibes, especially with your wait staff that's coming by. And you can ask permission. Hey, I'm teaching a class. Would you mind if they attempted to read you? And they're usually, oh my God, that would be so much fun. Yeah, I'd love to. We'll just go about your duties and we'll see. And then eventually a few minutes later, they may come back and they'll have written down some notes that they had. And I would have them, ask the wait staff, hey, does this make sense? This makes sense. And then they'll say yes or no. It'll help them confirm what they're getting. And that way they learn how to tune those dials a little bit on the other side.
Okay, so let's do the following. I want to unpack a few things here because, again, just in terms of audience, 80+% of the listening audience under the age of 35. So sure. We are presuming that everybody knows what a radio looks like with dials. And if you don't, do a search.
There you go.
The whole idea of radio itself with waves bringing in stations is the greatest analogy because it defies understanding. In other words, radio was only brought into the world. It always existed. I mean, those radio waves are always there. They've been there for thousands of years. And some people throughout those thousands of years could tune in to those radio waves and get themselves to a point where they were at medium, and I love how you express that because now it makes more sense to me also, and the ability to get in tune with those waves, so you become the medium. You're just a passageway. You're the phone in the desert, and there's nothing to be afraid of. On the contrary, you may be channeling what we'll call wisdom. In other words, the ability to communicate non-verbally, which is using your mind. Am I correct? Right. Using your mind. And I just made up a new acronym for mind, which is making insightful, necessary determinations. That's what your mind is, right? So your mind now becomes that mechanism that is capable of dealing with what other people would call a fourth dimension, a different dimension. It's a wave-like dimension, no different than the waves of the ocean, right? And if you can surf in the waves of the ocean or swim in the waves of the ocean, then you can do this. Tom, what I'm saying, is that correct in your experience?
Absolutely. All the information is out there. It's like your old radio with the transistors. For Terry's time, it was tubes, but
By the way, I do a whole riff on tubes. We'll talk about that in another time. Go ahead.
But at any given time, all this information is floating around out there, and it's just having the right receiver to pull down the one you want to listen to, right? What genre do you want to pick? And that's really what this is all about.
And by the way, the guys have, and well, again, you go to the website, you'll see they have a fabulous podcast, a great website. I mean, this is really enlivening, interesting, fun. Now, by the way, we use 4-letter words. I even use the 4-letter FU word. And I do it because of the shock value, and it's fun. But the 4-letter FU word that we use on our show is fun. F-U, capital N, capital N. People say, what are you talking about? Fun is only spelled with 3 letters. Not in our world. We just went to the 4th dimension. And it's spelled, F-U, capital N, capital N. So after the show, when you see your family and friends, I want you to point your finger and tell everybody, F-U, everybody. But you got to add right away, capital N, capital N. So what are you talking about? So, well, I listened to Barry Shore, The Joy of Living, and he had on this guy named Terry and a guy named Tom, and they're talking about medium and communicating. And say, what's going on here? Well, go to the website, www.barryshore.com, and find out and share the podcast. It's absolutely wonderful. So I have 3 quick questions for you guys. It's hard to even say this, but our time is 3 quick questions. You ready?
Sure thing.
Okay. Question number 1. Will you come back again?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Okay. Number 2. Are you ready? You're each going to get 66 seconds to answer this. That's all. Terry, what is your most fervent desire?
I think to empower people and let them understand how powerful they really are and who they really are. They're a little piece of God, and the Creator begats little creators, just like a zebra begats little zebras and oak trees begat little oak trees. And they need to understand that, because once they get it, they're in the driver's seat.
Good. And wonderful, Tom, what is your most fervent desire?
I think simplicity of life. I have one rule I've had since I was very young, that every day I'll make one person smile. And if I can do that, it's a win for the day. Anything beyond that's a bonus.
I love it. He's into SMILE, which stands for, of course, seeing miracles in life every day, which he did. You got to. If you're in law enforcement, you have to have your eyes open to see the miracles. A lot of other stuff out there, right?
Absolutely.
Keep your mind in the right vibration. All right, number 3, may I give you a hug in front of 367,823 people around the world? Yes? Are you ready?
Sure.
On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. And you have tuned in, you got your medium dial all set to the joy of living with your host, Barry Shore. And you're here for one reason only, because you care the most in the entire world about you. And that's what the show is all about today. You fine-tuning your mind and your ability to use choice, not chance, in the world, and that will help you determine your destiny. Remember, we work with the 3 fundamentals of life. Number 1, life. Your life has purpose. You lead a purpose-driven life. You go mad. Mad stands for make a difference. Number 3, unlock the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms, like we've been discussing with wonderful Tom and Terry. And when you do this, when you get in the right frequency, guess what? You'll be happier, healthier, and wealthier, just like we've been discussing. I guarantee it, or your money back. And when you remember this, listen to WWW. What a wonderful world. When you hear that song, what do you do right away? You smile. SMILE stands for seeing miracles in life every day. Or as my 8-year-old niece says, seeing miracles in everyday life. Create the kind of world you want to live in, causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. Rethinking. We've been discussing with Tom and Terry all about mindset. It's how you approach things so you can live in a calm, wonderful, positive, purposeful, powerful, pleasant way. And then, of course, you use a lot of 4-letter words when you're talking to people. Love, life, hope, free, gift, mind, play, pray, swim, calm. Use the 4-letter FU word. Tell everybody, FU, capital N, capital N. And then, of course, use the two most powerful words in the English language 3 times a day, every single day for the rest of your life. Just like Tom said, going to cause somebody to smile. Say, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks stands for to harmonize and network kindness. Everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Therefore, be kind always. And wonderful Terry and Tom, we're going to have you back again soon, because this is a expanding experience, and we thank you ever so much. So don't go away. We're going to say the outro, and we'll be right back after this.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Joy of Living podcast. Now that's another step towards your healthier, happier, and wealthier life. Never hesitate to do good in the world, no matter what the situation. Join us for another upbeat discussion next time at barryshore.com. And be sure to leave a rating and subscribe to the show to get more conversations like this. And remember to share it with your family and friends too. See you on the next episode.